gas you up on this game, boy.
Man, you about to smash what you talking about.
How am I gonna feel safe with all this racism going on?
How can I process all this anger that I'm feeling?
How can I deal with this sadness I'm feeling?
How can I teach my son how to be a black man? If any of these questions resonate with you, tune in this evening at 6 p.m. to the S.I.P Show.
Good. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the show. Welcome to the S.I.P show. I am Dr. Jeremy L. Black, also known as the Stitch Doctor. And man, do we have a show for y'all today. I'm joined by one of the baddest, the baddest co-host in the land. I call him D-Live. Let's give it up for David. David, let everybody know how they're doing.
What's going on, man? I hope y'all ready for the night because it's gonna be a deep conversation. It's gonna be a conversation that really gets you moving. And I'm ready to have this conversation with y'all. I'm glad y'all here joining them with us.
Let's talk about some current events.
Let's go.
We can't ignore, and I know our guest today is going to want to talk about it a little bit. What's going on in the news right now up in Minnesota? Brother, what's your thoughts on
it? I guess when things like this, the first emotion you have is anger, right? Like, oh man, I'm mad. They took another one of our lives. So it's like, oh, I'm frustrated. I'm mad. What can I do? Type of reaction. You know what I'm saying? But then I have to go to the trainings and stuff that I've been wanting to do, especially like being in school and things like that. It's like I have to have a certain type of posture when I go to these type of, when I get to these type of things, that I can't let my feelings, take over me, right? I can't let my feelings rule my thoughts and my actions. I still have to, keep it kingdom, if we want to put it in a term, right? So watching everything going on, so I'm, got the thoughts of racism. Now my son coming to me was like, I don't think I can go outside basketball. Cop might try to come stop me or shoot me or something. You know what I'm saying? So now it's affecting my kids because they fear for their safety. You know what I'm saying? And it's just like, man, it's ongoing processes that keep on going. But with me, I'm tired of walking. I'm tired of protesting. We need to have some systems in place so we can actually make a change. You know what I'm saying? We need some place that we can actually, stop these things from happening to us. Because just like, we'll go back to slavery, right? And it's so many years of oppression, right? They had so many years of supremacy, right? So they got to get untrained just like we had to get untrained. You know what I'm saying? Like they have this superiority complex, right? That we have inferiority complex. So it's like it's a whole lot of training that both sides need to do, that both sides need to be trained on. So it's a flow of emotions. I'm still processing it, but I do think we need to have some type of system, some type of plan in action, because I don't believe marching and protesting is going to get it done. It might change it for a quick season, but what we're going to do in the long term.
I absolutely agree with you. The gentleman that I'm about to introduce, the guest for today's show, like I said, he has a passion for people and an inspirational story. He is a product of the New Orleans school system, a U.S. Army, Marine, and Air Force veteran. He's a dedicated father and a marriage and family therapist. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to some and introduce to others my mentor, my friend, Dr. Danna Andrus, also known as Dr. Truth. Welcome to the show, man. We're glad to have you.
Oh, it's truly a pleasure. Thank you so much for y'all inviting me. And well, I mean, after that long list of what you said, I better have something to say then, huh? It's always a pleasure to be, involved in something like this, especially being around men. Because today, that's what we're talking about, men. And where we are as men, what's happening with men, and what we need to do to better the process. So you just tell me what you need me to do.
Well, welcome to the show. I'm glad that you're here. I'm anxious to hear your expertise. And then I want to know why you wanted to join 3 different branches of service. That's crazy. One was enough for me.
He's a veteran too. He's a veteran also.
Well, the first one was the Marine Corps. That's the one that set the stage. And then, after I got to a certain point from the physical, then I went to the less physical, which was the Army, then a little more mental, which was the Air Force. Then after that, it was time for me to get my education and move on. But, giving my service to the country, that was one of the good things that I did.
I wanted to just get your first take on what you thought of what is going on in America right now.
First of all, as a mental health therapist, one thing I've learned, especially when you're discussing situations, especially as explosive as what happened, was that Minneapolis?
Yes,
Minneapolis, yeah. It's necessary to remember to put I over E, especially when you're discussing it. In other words, intellect over emotions. And that's where our problem is. We implode and we get emotional without thinking the thing through. Now, we're going to eventually get it right because the police going to give us every opportunity to get it right. Trust me, because it's not over with. Because as long as they know that all we're going to do is get emotional about it for about 90 days, we'll pick it, we'll send some emails, we'll shout, scream, and we'll pray. Then after that, it's over with until the next time it starts. And unfortunately, that seems to be a pattern. And I think that we don't have any strong leadership out there speaking on our behalf. It's like now we send the comedians, and that's unfortunate. Don't get me wrong, they're good and they have something to say. But if a person sees you as a comedian, it's hard for them to see you as anything else but a comedian. But if instead of sending our educators out there, sending our real activists out there, instead what America does is that they water it down, then of course we dumb it down, and before you know it, it's just another issue to deal with. Now the question is, how do you resolve it? Now to resolve it, that's going to take some work because we're really going to have to decide what we're going to do. But the thing about it is that it's like that I'm thinking that what was that thing about it? Who's going to put the bell on the cat's neck? See, I mean, everybody talk about the cat, what kind of cat it is, what kind of bell they need to use, but somebody's going to have to go up to the cat, put the bell around the cat's mouth, which means that to put that bell around the cat's neck, you got to get close to the cat, which means that that person may not come back. Now, you're going to make it good for everybody else because we're going to know when the cat is coming. But the one that has to put the bell around the cat's neck, sorry, for something to live, something may have to die. That's all it is.
Yeah. Something going to have to give. Look, I meant to ask this first before we jump right in. But for those that, those in the world who do not know who Dr. Truth is, please tell them who Dr. Truth is.
Dr. Truth is an inspirational speaker, inspire. Everything comes from within, from God within, coming out. That's what I prefer to be. Ordained minister of the gospel of Jesus Christ. But most of all, what I am is what we call a holistic man. Realizing that that a man is not just something to play with. Matter of fact, when I became a man, it was almost like I was inducted into the royal order of manhood, because it wasn't about how many babies you could make. It wasn't about how much money you could make. It was about the responsibility and so forth. So Dr. Truth goes around the country doing workshops, seminars, soft skills training. But the main thing I love to do is work with our young men, because I believe that for a boy to be a man, he's got to see a man. He can't be what he don't see.
That's right. That is so right. You have a comment to add, D-Lodge?
I don't, but I don't know if you missed, but I said I'm pretty much saying the same thing about how I was feeling about the situation that happened in Minneapolis.
Mhm.
At first, I was angry. I'm frustrated. I'm all these emotions, but then it was like we need some type of system in place that we can implement for these things don't keep happening. Just like you said, it keep happening, then it dies down, and then until it happen again, we
Yep.
quiet again. You know what I'm saying? Until we can, if we have to elect the people, have the right people in office, have the right people on the police force for these things don't happen. So they had 4 other officers there. Nobody could stand up and be like, look, you're killing this guy. You know what I'm saying? So now we need more officers in place that's gonna have a certain type of integrity around them. You know what I'm saying? So it's a big long process that we'll be here all night talking about. But I'm ready to hear your thoughts on the Dr. B.
Okay, so I'm going to favor mine a little bit. I want to talk. I want to really get into the meat of our discussion today about mental health and empowering men. I know all of this is going to be around that. So, Dr. Truth, got another question for you.
Mhm.
You know, you've been doing this for some time now,
Mhm.
and I can remember. Oh, it was over almost 10+ years ago
Mhm. That
when
long.
I saw you for the first time. And looking back, and I will, we don't have the time for me to talk about the impression that you've made on my life. But looking back over your life, what mark would you like to say that you made on the world? What mark would you like to have it been said that you've made on the world?
To know that I was able to touch one life at a time. And to be able to do that, I have to bring all of me. In other words, to get some, you got to bring some. And so my goal in life was to bring all of me in everything that I do. If I'm talking to one person or if I'm talking to a whole auditorium of people, I have to remember that my responsibility is that I represent the God within, the God that I believe. And it's my responsibility to bring it all. Now, when we're talking to young men, I just watch the way that they'll start off, sitting back like this. But then as I talk, you still there? Yeah, okay. But then as I talk, they begin to set up, then they sit up, then they begin to lean in. That's because I'm not talking to their minds only, I'm talking to their spirit. Because what's in the heart reaches the other heart. Because see, we may not be the same up here, but we the same in here. So I'm speaking to his heart. If I speak to his heart, oh, I'll bring out the man in him. I got to. Because to be a man, you got to be one. To get one, you got to bring one.
Mm.
That's my style. That is my style.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. D-Lon, you were about to say something.
Nah, man, I'm just loving it. I'm loving
Oh,
it.
but now I'll give you another one that's even better. Well, while we try, and I watch, especially when Dr. B is talking to them young men, and I watch the way they respond to him. I say, see, we on the same page, on the same grid, kindred spirits, because girls learn through conversation.
Yeah, it is.
That's the key. Girls learn through conversation, but boys learn through observation.
That's right.
Girls, you want to know something about girls? Let them talk. That's the key. And you're going to find out everything you need to know from them by listening to them. But boys, they learn through observation. They watch, they study, they explore, and their observation. They're always looking. So if they're looking at me, then it's my responsibility to make sure that I'm doing what it is that I want them to be. Because when two forces come together, the stronger absorb the weaker every time. And if I'm strong like I know I am, and I bring it to them, I'm going. Now, it may take a couple of minutes. And look, Doc will tell you, I'll start off talking, they'll be talking, but eventually, give me 10 minutes. I got the room. Because I didn't talk to their mind, I talked to their spirit, and I know I got them.
Mm-hmm.
If you are tuned in today to today's show, you got questions, you have comments. Look, the floor is open. Look, I started a watch party on my page. We have, I invite you to the Stitches Influencing Purpose Initiative page. You
Mhm.
comment to the live. We can actually bring your comments on the screen. Any questions that you may have, by all means, look, the floor is open because it, there is a saying that today that African American men are endangered species.
Mm-hmm.
And it's an endangered species for several different reasons. And I believe the number one reason has to do with ignorance. It
Yes.
has to do, ignorance is twofold. It has two meanings. It means to not know and not. And it would not just destroy it because of what we don't know. We are also in jeopardy because what we know and we don't use.
Yes. Yes.
It's the lack of application of the things that are known.
That
like
word?
once you know better, you gotta do it. If you're not doing it, then you've already missed it, and you're still behind the curve. It's better to not know at all than to know and not use it. I just wanted to go ahead and throw that out there.
Put in these terms here. If you don't know, that's ignorance. I could teach you. But if you know and you still don't do, that's arrogance. There's nothing I can do with it. See, and that's our problem, is that we're dealing with arrogance. We know, but the problem is that, like Doc said, we don't know how to apply what it is that we know, because we never had those skills taught to us by which to take something, words, and turn it into behavior, applied behavior. So what we do is we get angry with one another, turn our mouth up at each other, simply because and look, it's easy for to say, listen, Doc, I can't read. Can you help me? But instead, what we'll do is that because we can't read, talking about these youngsters, we'll just disrupt the whole classroom. And then anybody after a period of time will know what that's all about. You disrupting the class simply because you can't read. It's the application part, as Doc said, we have to start working on. But one thing we have to do in order to do that, men, we have to learn to listen to one another. We're not doing that. We're assuming some things, but we're not listening. And the bigger part, we're operating outside of our nature. And that's why we keep getting into so much trouble. The nature of a man is to lead. The nature of a man is to be strong. 4 things: protect, defend, provide, and support. That's what a man's supposed to be able to grow into, so he can do that for his family. Protect his family, defend his family, provide for his family, support his family. That young boy that's laying out there on the street in Minneapolis, somebody missed one of those parts. If somebody was protecting him, that wouldn't have happened. If somebody was supporting him, that wouldn't have happened. If somebody was providing what he needed, that wouldn't have happened. So, and the thing about it is that we keep going over the same cycle over and over again because we're not doing those 4 basic things. If family would do that part, protect, defend, support, and provide, that's the male. If we do those 4 things, then that'll lessen the likelihood of something like that happening. Not saying it's going to end it, but it will lessen the likelihood. I'm done. For a minute anyway.
Look, I got to put that on the screen over here because I need people to see that. Provide, defend, protect, and support.
Give me a moment, Doctor, to run that down and say. Provide means that you have to get out there as a man and make sure that family's substance and sustenance is met. That's provide. A man has to be. Defend, which means that you have to be within not social distance, but arm length to be there for your family. See, you can't defend your family, you locked up in jail. That's not gonna happen. You leave them vulnerable to everything that happens. And then to protect your family is to make sure that your family has everything that they need so they could sustain the same quality of life even after you're gone. And the last thing, support. Anytime you get a chance, you hold up the foundation of family. Hold up, and that's what a man does. He holds up what is his, what he takes care of, what he supports. And that's what family is all about. And when a man is not doing that, doctors, when a man is not doing that, my good friend, he feels left out. Then all of a sudden, he's ill at ease. And what happens is that if he stays ill at ease too long, then he becomes dis-eased. And that's where the disease comes from. He's dis-eased because he's not at ease. And that's how he becomes hostile. That's how he becomes arrogant. That's how he becomes, let me stop. Go ahead, y'all. Leave that alone. Go ahead. I'm good.
That's teaching right
there. That's coming. I already feel it coming. But anyway.
I get pen and paper whenever I get around here. Like I gotta take me notes. Look, I have a question to ask you from one of our viewers. Why do you feel black men's legacy is important? Is it our responsibility to make sure our black boys see / or observe black men being or standing up for what's right?
See that, first of all, that's a loaded question, but I'm gonna break it down twofold. In other words, like I said, he can't be what he doesn't see. First of all, if you want him to be upright, he has to see a man standing upright. So that puts the responsibility on us as men. And then secondly, that boy and the boy's mother, and let me see how to say this right. Because see, this is where we get a little delicate here. That's why I say with boys is observation. With females, it's conversation. So I got to make sure I use the right words. Because if I don't use the right words, then my objective won't be met. I'm not saying that a female can't teach a boy how to be a good citizen. I'm not saying mother cannot take that boy and teach him how to be a good person. Because that's what females are doing, and they're doing great jobs with it. But in order for him to be a man based on his biology first, then you move up to his psychology that can only come from the same species that he's a part of, because it starts off with biology. If you have the same biology, then you start there. Then you move up to the psychology. But if your biologies are different and you're trying to teach from there, then you're moving to psychology, and you haven't started from biology, you're going to get a problem every time. And I'm trying to say how to say that the correct way. Because see, dealing with a man is very difficult. A lot of our men are angry, they are displeased, they are displaced, simply because they don't know who they are. They have a feeling that they're supposed to be somebody, but they don't have enough of people on the outside doing what's necessary to draw them into what it is that they're supposed to be. And I'll give you a perfect example. Go to the school system. You get a teacher that's one of the hottest male teachers. I mean, he's out there mentoring for these boys. He's role modeling for these boys. He's teaching them. He's becoming effective in whatever. Then all of a sudden, somebody sees how productive he is, especially with these black males. And next thing you know, they take that teacher and give them a promotion and put them in administration. Now, let's face it, we all want more money. But if I'm more productive out there on the field of battle, don't put me in the trenches. You put me in the trenches because you don't want that energy that I have that's working with those boys out there to continue. So what you do is that because you have a need for the boys to stay where they are, because there's an agenda for that. So what they do is take that teacher, give that teacher promotion, which is more money. And before you know it, that productive teacher on the field becomes unproductive, sitting there in somebody's office, drinking coffee and eating donuts. Oh, I know that one's hard, but that need to be said there. I remember when I was...
you can jump in anytime you want to.
No, I remember when I was asked about being a principal of a school, and I told them that's not a problem, but this is what I'm gonna need: a 6-figure salary. That's number one. I need to pick my assistant principal, because that's the one that's gonna be going to all those meetings and all those conventions and stuff. Because if you want me to run a school and bring a school back to where it need to be, then I need to be present there, because I know those boys learn through observation. And if I'm good at what I do, then I need to be on the site so they could see the good, draw from the good, and eventually they become good too. But I can't do that if you're going to put me in a suit and tie and sending me to all these different meetings and all that. That's not going to work.
And the other part I'm gonna add to that is when they get promoted to this new position, I believe it's important the teach back, to the mentor piece, the training somebody else to do what I was doing. That's the part that's missing, where you might pull them out of the classroom and put them in administration, which good. The accolades, they deserve the promotions, they deserve the recognition, but you never want to stop the cycle of, I'm teaching you so you can teach somebody else. If I pull you out, then I can't just put somebody else there and I'll stop that process from teaching the next.
Exactly.
Leave that. So, with that being said, let me ask you this question: how important is male mentorship in today's society?
Actually, it's the most important thing. Actually, it's so critical that, and it's so critical. And the hard part about it is that everybody else knows it's critical. That's why they respond to us the way they do. We're the only ones that take that for granted. It's like, we think mentoring is taking the ball on the basketball court and y'all play some basketball or something like that, or take them to a football game, or rendezvous to McDonald's and get a damn hamburger or something like that. That's not mentoring. Mentoring is bringing that boy into a place that you've already been or you're doing now. If I'm going to bring him into manhood, then I have to already be a man doing what a man's supposed to do. Therefore, when he comes in, he'll know exactly what he needs to do. Just like you said, Doc, don't take me out of the classroom and put me in the office if I haven't trained somebody to take my place. Because if I leave and there's nobody to come there who have my same dynamics and energy and drawing power for our young boys, then, it's going to be a big void there, and then everything will fall apart. No, mentoring has got to be the most critical piece that we are not, and think about it, it don't cost nothing. You don't need to go to the White House for that. You don't need to go to the governor's mansion for that. The mayor can't do that. Every man is, look, when my wife told me that we was going to have a baby, now, she's 4 years old, I said, oh my God, I can't believe this. Lord have mercy, I'm 59 years old and we having a baby? Nah, that's right, sir, 59. I'm 62 right now. Look, so she told me that. She said, so Dana, but you're going to be all right. I said, that's not what I'm talking about, my age. That's not the issue. What you're telling me, if we're going to have a baby, then that means I'm got to clean up my act. Because that child that's going to be in our household is going to be watching everything I'm doing. They're going to watch me as a man. They're going to watch how I treat you as a female and as my wife and companion and their mother. So that means that you put a great responsibility on me, because now I got to work this mentoring thing all over again, because now I got a child coming and that's watching. My daddy told me this, and I'll never forget. When me and my ex-wife split, my first children's mother split. He told me, he said, son, she's going to have to tell those children some horrible things about you to justify her leaving. Because he knew I was hurt, broken up inside. But he said, this is what I tell you, son. And it may be a while before you see your children again. But this is what I'm going to say to you. Whenever you talk to your children again, always say something good about their mother. Never say nothing negative about it. Always say something supportive. Always say something positive, and always say something kind. Hold her up, even if it hurt. Hold her up, especially in front of them. And that's how you gonna win them back. And I'll be dog. Years later, when I was getting married the second time, my son, who was my best man at the time, he was 3 when me and his mother split. I'll never forget. He stood in front of me as he was fixing my tie. He said, Pops, I need to ask you a question. What really happened between you and Mom? It's because he saw the person that he had grown into over the years watching, and it didn't add up to some of the things that his mother said about me. So that's what I'm saying. The character of a man, how you carry yourself, especially around your female counterparts, that's what's going to make the biggest difference in the lives of our children. See how men, we talk to one another, that's one thing. But when we reverence our females, when we treat them with dignity, when we treat them with respect, I mean, we like to say, this is my little princess. Well, if she your princess, treat her like royalty then, okay? Do what you're supposed to. That's just not a word, that's a behavior. And once we do that, then our children will begin to learn that they are a royal priesthood, that they are somebody. All right, y'all can talk.
You got to turn this over to the truth show, man.
You know, I've often said it this way, because I, like you know, my children are from a previous marriage, and I've never talked down to my kids. no matter what me and their other parent was going through.
Exactly.
And I've always believed in the mantra that if you treat somebody how they are or how they've been, they'll never become who they ought to be.
Exactly.
So you always have to treat them how you want them to be, and never pull it down from that. And honestly, that's how the Creator treats us. He treats us based off of how we ought to be, and that's the only way he refused to see us any other way. And by doing that, it forces us. That drives us and us to go and progress more. So look, let me shift and ask this. So you've been doing this for a while. How do you go about refueling yourself, amping yourself up for every day, getting up, empowering yourself to pour into other people, let alone pour into yourself, let alone pour into other people?
Exercise. You have to exercise your body in order to keep it rejuvenated and to keep it moving and keep it fluid. So that's something I do every morning. 5 o'clock, I'm in the gymnasium. That's what I do, and I enjoy it. It's like that's my church, the gym. Then when I'm done with that, where most people they'll go and medicate, I'll take the time and meditate, which means that I'll take the time to refuel myself by now. When I'm praying, I'm talking to God. But when I meditate, God talks to me. So what I do is keep my mouth shut, just lie still like a blank slate and let God write on the halls and the walls of my mind. He'll tell me what it is that he wants to do. And then all I got to do, since it's there, store it, because he'll bring it back to my remembrance. Oh, I feel the praise coming here. He'll bring it back to my remembrance. And when he bring it back to my remembrance, then I'll have what I need at the right time when I go out there and stand in front of people. And Doc will tell you, I don't use notes. I don't have to, because what I need to say has already been written in my heart and is written in my mind. All I have to do is look at the right person, and all of a sudden, what's in here is going to come out because that person is drawing it out. Mm-hmm. That's when you know you're good at what it is that you do. And that's why I tell people to be, for example, as a speaker, and Doc can tell you, it's going to take 10 years or 10,000 hours. Oh, you're going to put some work in for this. Because everything that you do, you have to put some work in. But Doc, can I say this one thing? Yeah. Can I throw this out? One thing I found out, especially to stay in line with what you just asked, before I get up and speak, I ask myself, Dana, where are you at this point? Because there's 4 levels of manhood I look. There's the Saul level, there's the David level, there's a Solomon level, and then there's the Christ level. The Saul is the physical man. See, I already know as a physical man, I already know what to do. The mental man, that's David. That's somebody who's very intelligent. But I want to know that when I go in front of people, or when I go in front of my family, or when I go in front of my clients, that I've surpassed Saul, the good-looking fine man. I've surpassed David, the intellectual man, the one that has all the skills. But I want wisdom. And the power of discernment. That's what I want. So I can be able to know what to say and how to say it, the way to say it to the right people. See, when I'm talking to my family, one thing I remember, especially, and this is where a lot of men have mental illness to stay on track with that, is that we talk to our family members like they're our worst enemies, and we talk to everybody else like they're our best friends. And at the end of the day, I got to come home to my family. So it's incumbent on me to recognize that, especially if I get into it with my wife, I have to remember, this is my beloved. This is my person, bone of my bone, flesh of my flesh, that have shared to produce a child, which means that I got to remember to speak to her like I would speak to myself. Now, the question is, who am myself? If I curse her out, I've cursed me. If I talk stupid to her, then I'm stupid. If I hit her, then I've already been smitten, any way you look at it. So the thing about it is that I have to remember that no matter what, for example, look at our daughter. The two, me and my wife together, have become one flesh. Our daughter represents the one flesh. That's the two of us having come together. So when a man says he love his child and say he hate his mother, Something wrong with that. Because if you say you love your child and you hated the mother, then you really don't love the child because half of the child is the mother.
Mm.
And his was even worse. Here go to mental illness, and the other half of it is you. Leave that one alone. Go ahead, Doc. Talk.
So that means you're not liking something
Yeah.
about you
Yeah.
and what you're looking at. You know, we get caught up, and just let me just go ahead and say this since you're talking about it. We get caught up in not liking the other person, that other parent. And we take, you know, the kid, you know, you often hear all the time, the kid didn't do it, it's not the child's fault. It's when you look at that, you see what you viewed as a mistake.
Mm-hmm.
And people don't want to acknowledge mistakes. They don't want to own mistakes. At the end of the day, you got to own who you are. And you got to own everything that makes you who you are. So, and it's not to go biblical, but I got to. You know, we agree doesn't make mistakes. But yet and still, we holler about we made mistakes. We, you know, this was a mistake, that was a mistake, she was a mistake, that was a mistake. Well, you wouldn't be where you are and who you are right now had you not would have gone through everything that you went through. So your mistake wasn't a mistake. It just was a path you didn't expect it. You didn't expect, or you look back and just wish you would have went on a different path. But you know, God knew what path you needed to get to where you are. So you are a sum total of your experiences up to this point in your life. So even if you didn't like it, if you liked it at one time, you had a child with them. Yeah. You have to own everything that you did up to this point in your life, because you take one or two things from experiences. You take lessons or you take bitterness.
Yes.
I'm going to say that again. You take lessons or you take bitterness. Now, how do you know if you took bitterness? If every time that person come up, the discussion come up, your whole atmosphere changes, you took bitterness away from it. You didn't learn anything. If you keep going through the same process over and over again, you keep meeting the same type of men, you keep going through the same situations over and over, that means you didn't learn anything. Damon, let me get past the mic over to you. Jump in this conversation.
Mr. Lodge, you gonna jump in here at some point, huh?
Yeah, I'm taking my mental notes. It's just so
this how we do every time we get together, right? but you know something that's so rewarding about our boys, especially, they want to learn and be a man more than we want to take the time to teach them to be men. Passages from the good book: suffer a child to come, and that means to discipline that child. If you're gonna discipline that child to come, then that means, you know, you as a mentor, as a parent, you're not you're not the what you call it, a traveling agent. You're a tour guide. You don't tell them where to go. You gotta take them there. You gotta take them there all the way through. But you see, and because you, as a tour guide, you've done this over and over again, but after a while, you pretty much know what to do and what not to do. So when you're teaching them, and like Doc said, teach them both things. Teach them that the mistakes that you made, they wasn't mistakes. All that was, let's face it, you know, you fall down, you get up. And the thing about it, get up. That's the key. That's where your resiliency come in. Get up. It wasn't a mistake. All it was a different path that you had to take to get to your greater good. Now, you're going to get there. But don't think that it's all going to be like something you saw with somebody else, but you follow your own path. You got it?
Eli, you have the floor. I'm not gonna. I'm gonna let you talk in this because you got to add to this.
You know, how mentor is so important that a boy can't teach a boy, right? So it's like we go back to communication. If I go back to high school, we couldn't even communicate with each other. We'd be like, "Oh man, where the girls at?" That's how me checking on my boy, see how he doing. I couldn't even physically ask him, "Say, bro, how you doing?" Without feeling like they made me feel like soft and made me feel less than a man. They used to ask my friend how he was feeling. So going back to teaching young men how to communicate, it's okay to have your feelings. Is another thing that I believe that'll be key in mentoring youth. Especially, I have a son. He's 13. He'll be 14 in a little while. So it's like I have to instill in those things that I didn't have growing up in my son. So I was a product of a divorce, right? So my dad pretty much taught me that the more women I had, the more man I was. The more man I would become, the more women I had. So now I have to break that cycle with my son, right? So I have to say, son, that's not true. You know what I'm saying? And it came to we had to get together not so long ago. This was maybe like last year. My dad was here, asked my son, how many girlfriends you got? I'm like, no, Dad.
Yeah.
We're not doing that curse is quit. You know what I'm saying? So it's going back to the past. I feel like I need to have conversation with my parents because I don't know why they got a divorce. Really, I heard this, I heard that. We need to come together. We need to get truth. We need to get healing of that past. So I can.
You said the word now. He said truth. Now, see the thing about it. See what you just said, son. We have to stop talking around each other. Have to stop talking over each other and start talking. And stop talking about each other and start talking to one another. See, I can't heal until you tell me the truth, regardless of how painful that may be. It may have been painful for you, but I need to know. Don't get wrong. I'm gonna get angry, but I need to know so I can fix it. I can't fix it if I don't know what's broken.
Nothing covered ever gets addressed. And we think, and this is a learned behavior. Our parents thought if I cover it up and I don't show you, then I can shield you from it. So, and I think I said this, we steal from life, then we're helping them. But what we're actually doing is we are actually pushing them toward life without teaching them how to get through life, how to handle situations, how to address life.
Exactly.
You can't pull it away from them because it's still going to be there. So many people deal with stuff in life that they have been ill prepared for.
Yes.
Now, and since we're talking about men and we're talking about mental health and we're talking about what's going on in our society today, especially about African American men, I have to say a lot of it is, when I talk about ignorance, is because they've been ill prepared. They've been ill prepared on how to deal with situations. A lot of times, the person that knows better won't turn around and teach the next person.
No.
Won't pass the message. We have developed this stigma of that ain't my business. I'm not going to say anything. If I see somebody doing wrong, I don't want nobody to tell them my time nothing. I don't want nobody, and don't even get me started on that one.
Yeah.
I don't want nobody telling me nothing. We've gotten that attitude about stuff. Well, I'm sorry. How do you grow? If you don't know, how do you grow?
There you go.
You have to be exposed to truth in order to grow from truth. Otherwise, you grow in ignorance.
But we'll finish it up because the truth will set you free. See, freedom only comes from knowledge when you know. See, and our problem is that in other words, what we want to do is whatever happened to me in the past, I'm not going to share it with my children. I'm going to keep it in. So we suppress it, and thinking that it's gone. But at some point, if it don't come out in my life, it's going to pass on to the next generation. That energy has to come out. That's why I tell people, you have to be able to change the behavior, but before you can ALTER, you got to bring that behavior to the ALTAR. You got to get it out of your heart where you done hit it, bring it to your mind and discuss it, talk about it, and then after that, let it go. But we're not letting it go because we don't even know what to bring up. So we're going on and on and on and on. This thing in Minneapolis, guess what? The first time it was something minute. Next time it was something different. The third time, like this time here, they did what? They put his foot on the child's neck. The next time, they're going to shoot him straight in the brain. Why? Because we're not going to say nothing about it.
Yeah. And they know the way the system is set up. We get mad for a day. We get mad for a couple of weeks.
That's it.
And then it blows over. And then, we may holler about we're not doing. We may. All of the friends. But we're not hitting it where it needs to be. to get on our governmental officials, those to change some laws, to make it to where, you know what, we can sleep at night.
Yeah.
We can walk outside and live. You know, I love the commercial that we did for the show today, because these are the type of conversations we have to be able to have. We have to be able to talk to our young men and not spew more hurt into them or spew more negativity in them to where they grow up automatically thinking negative. No, we got to hit it from both sides. You got to address what's going on right now, and you have to teach those that's coming up behind you.
Exactly.
Of the new path. Now, let me mention this before I jump off of it. I made a statement earlier dealing with talking about the other parent. I got to jump back to this. And let me clarify. Yeah, I speak positive. I never speak negative in front of the children, but I make sure it is known truth from false.
Yes.
You have to show, you know, you got to call it like it is. Too many times we ignore stuff. We don't say what needs to take place, how it needs to take place. We don't call a spade a spade. If they lie, say they lie. If they wrong, say they wrong. What needs to transpire in our country is accountability. There is not enough accountability for people that we put in positions that we felt that we said they would be accountable.
Well, we know you have somebody put is that we need a strategy. And you know what's interesting about a strategy is, first of all, we have to believe that we can do this. First thing we do is jump in front of the cameras. As soon as we get in front of the cameras, I don't care what you say. Once they see it, it's edited, it's going to come out to be something altogether different. We have to get among ourselves and look at this thing realistically and decide what it is that we need to do. And let me tell you something. We cannot deal with today's problems using things that we did back in the 60s. It's not going to work. And once again, for something to live, something's got to die. And I'm going to leave that one just like that. Because I don't know no other way to do this. I mean, you know, when my beloved and I get into a little discussion about something before it gets heated, and I really want it resolved, instead of putting it on her, I'll say, I'll tell you what, I'll take the blame for this. And I do that for two reasons. Number one, I need it to stop. And then number two, if I'm going to fix it, I need to take responsibility for it. Because see, once I take responsibility, I have empowered myself to fix it. Now, I have 3 or 4 female friends of mine called me today and say, Doc, what we going to do about Minneapolis, whatever it was. And I told them, I said, what do we need to do? They said, listen, you was our African history teacher. Now, you taught us how to deal with this stuff. So what you going to do? And they all hung up after that. Because see, they understand that, because they understand that if you're dealing with something, you have to take it head on. Sometimes you got to come out the trenches, people. You got to get there on the playing field. Go ahead, Doc. Because I'm reading your questions over here. Somebody going to throw the phone?
Yes. Look. No, to be, but I do just make sure I get this question in. How can men today address their mental health and empower themselves? In your opinion, what can we start doing right here, right now? Damon, I'm coming to you next.
Yeah. No, we have to first of all make sure we understand the man in the mirror. See, I can't come to you with anything unless I'm comfortable and sure of myself. See, and that's the bigger part. Once we do that, that's step one. Know thyself. Know your limitations, your boundaries, know what lane you in and how far you can go. In other words, if I'm a technician, I don't need to be in front of the camera speaking because that's not my lane. We need to put the right person out front who's very productive and who understands how to talk and articulate themselves correctly where they won't get crossed up by these different questions that the media asks them. That's number one. Then number two, we have to make sure, like you said, that our public officials who we put in office are willing to back us up. because we keep going through the same thing. When election time comes, everybody come out with the same promises, but then this whole thing still remains the same. We got to get number 1 and number 2 together before we can do anything else. Now, as far as step 3, 4, and 5, that's a different ball game now. And see, and here's another thing. But let me say this. I'm just beginning to learn about social media. So if I need to, put something, a program together like we're doing here, I'm going to have to solicit the help of somebody who knows how to do that. That's not my lane. So therefore, if the person that's out there representing us is not qualified to, in terms of being able to speak correctly, being able to speak profoundly, being able to stand strong and back up what he or she says, then they don't need to be out there. We put them out there. Why? Because they're a politician? But I tell you right there, that's not going to work. We need to put the right person out there who is capable and who's able to articulate themselves in such a way that they can get our message across. Now, that's number 1. We have to go out and find that person. When we get that person, then we can move to the next level. Know who you are, which means know what lane you're supposed to be in. Secondly, seek out that person who can appropriately represent us. Not represent us to dumb the thing down. No, represent us where we need to be so we can clean this thing up. And then after that, be willing to support them. Look, if Dr. Blunt said he's going to be our spokesperson, which I think he could do a very good job, then guess what? You, me, and everybody else have to rally behind him. Doc, what you need? Tell us what you need. Well, if y'all want me to do this, and look, we got all this covered. You just handle that.
Yeah, you got to be willing to find your lane and stay in your lane. Mm-hmm. And be willing to solicit other people for them to do other stuff.
Yes.
It's lonely at the top because you ain't take nobody with you.
Right.
Or you bring nobody with you. That's why it's lonely up there. It's not about just you getting there. It's about you. And let me say this. I believe it's about tactics. A lot of times we use tactics of yesterday. Some of these people that have been in these positions have been in there for years. And when they started off, I give it to them. What they were doing worked then.
Effective. It was effective.
In a different era, and this is a different time. The things that some of them are doing that worked then, they don't work now. And we have to be willing to say, okay, we have to find what works now, and let's use what works now.
And that's not going to be easy to do. I'm talking about, especially, in other words, the person who should be our spokesperson for a movement, that person is already here. What we got to do is get out the way and let that person come forth. That person, look, there's never been a disease, there's never been a virus, there's never been never been a sickness sent to this earth that God hasn't sent a healing for. The healing is already here. But those of us from the past, those of us that still dealing with these antiquated ways, we have to get out of the way and let that person surface. Whether it be a female, whether it be a male, doesn't matter. God has already instilled the message in them for such a time as this. And it's time for us to get out the way and allow them to come forth.
D-Lod, putting it on you, brother.
Let's kind of go to our conversation we had this weekend, right? When we was doing self-discovery, right? Discovering what your superpower is, and when you discover what your superpower is, you know what it's not also.
Exactly.
So, when you know what it's not, you need to find somebody that has it. So I agree exactly to what y'all were saying, that we need to find that person to help uplift them and get them all the support that they need.
Yeah. But like I said, that person D is already here.
Yeah.
In other words, when there's the only reason why you got a problem is because there's a solution here that's ready to surface to eradicate the problem. But those of us that are, like you said, trying to do a new thing or old way, you got to get out the way and let that person come through.
Yeah.
Because if not,
control. They feel they got to be in control. But the truth is, when you're in your lane, and I keep saying this, see. Let me share what my lane is. You shared what yours was at the beginning. And what have always been mine, and I shared this this past weekend with D. Lodge during the conversation. Nobody's supposed to pass me, leave me, and I leave them the same way that they were before they came to me.
Yes.
My goal is to, my purpose is to empower them, to educate them, and equip them with what they need so that when they leave me, they leave me saying there was something about that conversation. There was something that was different about what we just experienced, so that when they move further, I want folks to be the best version of them. And as we empower men, as we talk about mental health, look, it's important that you check you first.
Yes.
And if you find error in you, then that's when you turn to somebody. And my brother's a mental health professional. I'm a mental health professional. If you tuned in today and you're looking for somebody to talk to, these are two brothers right here. Because men, I gotta say it the way it is, we need to hear it from other men.
Yes.
And especially those of us that, because, you know, they can't see stuff the way that you see it, or they've never seen it the way that you see it, then they can't tell you the way, they can't advise you in the best way. And we are guides. That's what our job is. We're guides. And we're all here to guide those that come after us.
Yes.
We're not, I like the way you said it, Doc, when you said tour guide. There's a difference between a tour guide and a travel agent. Their job is not to take you there. You're not going to go everywhere we want you to go and do everything we want you to do. But our job is to guide you, to let you know, look, these are the options. These are the things that you can do. At the end of the day, you're going to make your own decisions. But you got to make decisions that, one, you can live with, two, you can sleep with, and three, that somebody else who comes after you, how comfortable are you with them doing what you did because they came behind you, watching you? So that's a question that I have for me. And you know, I believe this is, I wanted the shirt. I'm going to get the shirt that says, I'm exhausted, but I'm not hopeless.
Thank you.
I'm exhausted from the stories that I hear. And the thing, every time you scroll down social media and everything, I mean, this was last week. We just got off the cusp of hearing about one incident in Georgia. Now we're in a whole nother place. And then there's several others. There was an incident in New York. It's constantly a barrage, folks. I'm exhausted from hearing the stories, but I'm not hopeless, but I'm pumped up because I know we can do better, and it starts with us. It starts with us taking individual accountability for who we are, and then turning around and empowering every brother that we can get in contact with. Every one of them that we can reach, empowering them and building them up.
But you said something very important. For those who enter into my life must leave better for having had the experience of being around me. Anybody who come into my life, when they leave, they must feel better for having been around me. That meant they learned something, they picked up something, and something I did or said, have done something to their life. Right now, I could just shout hallelujah and the victory because I know the person that we need to be in the forefront is already here. I'm just that confident. It's already, no, it's not me. Because I would be more of like a John the Baptist, the forerunner, the voice in the wilderness saying, prepare because that person is coming. There is somebody out here in this America that's male or female, that's black just like us, that can stand up and be the person that we need to represent our cause. Because first of all, they have to be able to do it intellectually. If you can't do it like that, then you're zero. Secondly, you have to be committed to it. If you're not committed to it, it's not going to work. And thirdly, you got to know when you put it all on the line and put that bell around the neck, you might not be able to come back.
That's right.
That person is here because the time is now. I feel that in every fiber of my being. I know that person is here. But our problem is that, like Doc said, those of us, we can be cheerleaders. Just stand on the sideline and cheer. But get out of the way so that person can do what it is they've been called to do.
That's right.
I'm confident of that.
Look, D-Lodge, you had a comment before I want to read something that somebody wrote, but go ahead, D-Lodge.
Yeah, I just wanted to give a plug to this small group that I'm a part of. It's called His Insecurities, right? It's safe to come and talk and vent about their problems, and it's every Wednesday night, 7 o'clock. We on Zoom because we can't physically meet. But I'll share the link every Wednesday. You can get on my Facebook, Damon Lodge, and you can come join us at His Insecurities.
That's good. Jeremiah Claiborne mentioned, he said, mental health is eternal issues that won't be addressed if we won't let it out. Problem is, there aren't many places we men can go and be vulnerable and actually get some help that doesn't involve the words, suck it up. Jeremiah, you're absolutely right. And one of the things, and this was talked about on one of our earlier shows, about, getting away from the phrase, suck it up. Because so many times that was the information that was shared to the younger generation. Instead of sharing what your feelings are and what those things are. Jeremiah, like I said, two of us are mental health professionals. If you need somebody to talk to, and we have a network of other men that we know that are also mental health professionals. This is where we have to come together to look out for each other and to take care of each other. By all means, look, find who you need. And if the person that you're seeing isn't giving you the things that you need to progress and it's helping you, then you find somebody else.
Yes.
Keep doing it until you get what you need. Our issue is we've been settling for less. I'm over settling.
Yes.
From myself to my family to anything that I come in contact with or deal with, I'm over settling. Look, we are out of time for the day. So I'm going to take some final comments from the doc. I'm going to give D-Lodge a chance, and we got to do some of our other closing things. But what closing comments would you have?
I probably use the same one I use at the end of most of my programs. If you lose money, you lose a lot. If you lose friends, you lose even more. But if you lose hope, you lost it all. The reason why we're still here today, because somebody still believes that it's going to be all right. We didn't always have the intellect. We didn't always have the knowledge, but we always had hope that tomorrow is a better day. People, we're living in the tomorrow today. So let's keep hope alive, but turn that hope into applied behavior based on strong application, and then we can move forward. It's been a ball being with y'all, for sure.
Look, here's what I missed earlier, and it was going to bother me till I got it. He who knows not, and knows not.
That's what you want? Yeah. To him who knows, To him who knows, To him who knows, wait.
He who knows not.
He who knows, it's been a while since I said it. Yeah, he who knows not and knows not that he knows not, he is a fool. Avoid him. To him who knows not and knows that he knows not, he's a student. Teach him. To him who knows but knows not that he knows, he's asleep. Awaken him. But to him who knows and knows that he knows, that's called wisdom. Follow him. That's it.
That's it. D-Lodge, any final comments for the show?
Man, I enjoyed this conversation, man. It's going to allow me to take my life, even some things that I learned from this conversation, to a higher level, especially when it comes to teaching my son what it is to be a man. So,
yes.
Oh, y'all, man, this was a fun conversation. I was just soaking it in like a sponge.
That's it.
That's what it's all about. Look, this has been a great conversation. Dr. Truth, we want to thank you so much for taking the time out your schedule and joining us today. Look, we're going to have you back on the show. This is, now you understand, D-Lodge, why I say the things that I said about him prior to the show. Every time I talk with him, I feel like I've gone to another level. But at the same time, he pulls it out of me to make me want to push and do more and go to another level. men that are out there that are tuned in, ladies that are out there that are tuned in. Um, I know I know that you're tired. I know that there's a barrage of different things that are going on in the world, many of which that we can't control. But it's our responsibility to start with us.
Yes.
Whether or not you're a male or a female, whether or not you are a female raising a male, the importance and I can't stress enough the importance of making sure that little boys see real men.
Yeah.
I can't stress that enough, how important it is for them to have an example to follow, because there's so much that we learn from what we see. I'm blessed to have friends and mentors like Dr. Truth that have come across my path to help me develop to where I am. I have yet a ways to go, but I want to encourage everyone that's viewing this to leave some comments about the show and what you got out of it, but also to share this, because this hasn't been a conversation about just all the negativity that's going on out there.
Right.
This has been a conversation about how we can be better, both individually and collectively. And for that, we appreciate y'all tuning in, and that's going to be our show today.
Be blessed, everybody. Y'all take care, yeah?
So, D-Lock, we are closing out. Man, this was a good show today, man.
It was real good. I enjoyed it.
All right. So, D-Lock, tell me this. Our next show, I got to talk to you about our next show. It's going to be exciting. Folks, tune in the next time. This one was a deep one. I can't even lie. It hit me pretty big. This one was a deep one, and I'm excited and I'm thankful for the opportunity to have conversations like we say that matter. So I'm signing out. D-Lodge, any final comments before we roll out?
That's it. I appreciate y'all taking your time out to listen to our conversation. We want you to like, share it, tag some men that need this information, because it's powerful. It's very powerful.
Hey, thanks for joining us today. This was another awesome conversation. But more importantly, we were excited about the fact that you were a part of it. So even if you're catching the replay, we always go back and check out our comments and information from before. So make sure you leave your comments in the comment section. Follow us on Instagram, like us on Facebook, and of course, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel to know where we'll be at next, when we'll be in a city near you, and also when we'll have another episode that you can be part of the conversation. Remember, this is the place where conversations matter.